If you've been wanting to learn the tarot, but you're daunted by the prospects of memorizing the meanings of 78 cards, well, stick around because I'm going to be sharing the best, easiest, and fastest way to learn the deck. We've got that and our Sunday morning spread for the week to come coming right up. Grab your coffee. Kopi Dulu friends, thank you for joining me once again this week. Brian No from Cards of Light. We will have our Sunday morning spread for the week of August 17th coming up in a bit. But I also wanted to talk this time about the method that I used to learn the tarot and the one that I still recommend to people. I think it is by far the best way to learn the cards, the quickest way, the easiest way. And it helps you learn it's not just memorizing meanings from a guidebook or a website or something like that. It's a way to really internalize the meanings of the cards so that they have a lot more relevance to your life and are a lot more useful in your life. So be sharing that coming up. At the top, though, if you are new here, if you wouldn't mind to subscribe to this channel, I would appreciate that. That way you'll get all of our latest content when it comes out. And also, if you wouldn't mind, give this video a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. That'll help this channel and this content reach more people. Thank you very much for that. All right. 78 cards is a lot to learn. I'm going to share a surefire method to learn the cards and also to internalize them so that you really can put them to use in your life. I followed this practice. It takes about 5-10 minutes a day. And I followed this when I very first started with the cards, and I still continue to do it to this day. I found it to be a powerful tool for self-transformation. In fact, I've often said that the cards saved my life. I don't think that's an exaggeration. That's a story for another time. But anyway, it's a very powerful transformational practice. If you want it to be, or if you just want to learn the cards, this is the best, easiest, fastest way to do that as well. So this is easy. It's simple. All you need is a tarot deck and something to write with, or something to record your thoughts with, and that is it. And that can be electronic. I use Evernote when I'm doing this. If you are more comfortable with pencil and paper or even dictating notes or something, that's fine as well, just as long as you can access your thoughts later. Again, 5-10 minutes a day. And you will have mastery of these cards. You'll have complete command of the deck in no time, just a few short months, and you will be very, very familiar with all of the cards in the deck and all of their meanings. So before you begin, it does help to kind of get some understanding of how the deck is organized, where it came from, how it's been used over the years, and that sort of thing. And I would recommend for that, I've got a really good blog post called Tarot 101. I'll link to that in the description box here. And that will cover things like how the deck is organized, the suits, the major arcana, that sort of thing. So maybe read that before you begin. And then you will need a deck. You can use any tarot deck that you'd like, anyone that resonates with you. I would recommend, if somebody asked me and they didn't have a preference, I would recommend the RWS Rider-Waite-Smith deck for a lot of different reasons, but that's just the one that I think is easiest to start with. There's more resources out there on it and all, but you can use any deck that you want. The other thing that you'll need is a way to take notes. I mentioned earlier that I use Evernote for mine, but you can use any method that you want. If you want to do a Word document or something like that, you can. If you want to just use a journal, pencil, and paper, that is fine as well. Some people like to make little sketches of the cards as they're going along. So however you want to do that is fine. But you will need a deck, and you'll need a way to keep some journal entries on it. So this process is very, very simple. You basically shuffle the cards, pull a card a day, just one card each day, then learn a little bit about the card and record some thoughts about the card. You will need some sort of reference materials. These could either be the little white book that comes along with most tarot decks, or if you don't have written materials around, you can certainly just do a web search for the card as you draw it each day. And then learn a little bit about the traditional meanings behind the card. But then you'll want to reflect on that card and how it might relate to things that are going on in your life, or how it might relate to your day. Any insights that you might have into that card, or just any random thoughts about the card. Just basically draw the card, learn a little bit about it, reflect a little bit, and record your thoughts. And that is the process. And when I started doing this, I would do it first thing in the morning with my first cup of coffee. And I always like to take a photo with my cell phone of the card draw for the day. In fact, I still do that. And I've got a Flickr set, a Flickr album that goes back to the very beginning when my very first card draw, when I started doing this years ago. And the card was the Emperor that day. And so I've got those recorded all along. I keep an Evernote that has got the date, the name of the card, my notes, and a picture, and that's it. But it doesn't have to be that elaborate. If you just want to write down the date, the card, and your thoughts, you're welcome to do that. Some days you may have amazing insights. The card may trigger thoughts going back to childhood, things that have been part of your life for a long time, or maybe memories that you had kind of completely buried may come up in this process. You may get uncanny things happening where a card will come up and it just resonates with what's going on in your life at that moment, or with things that you have been thinking about or working on. Other days, it may just kind of be, oh, okay, that's interesting, and you move on. It may not be any big deal, but over the long haul, you'll really, I think, see some amazing things. Everyone that I've recommended this method to and it has done it has reported back, some sort of aha or wow moments that they've had working with the cards like this day after day. So let's say, for example, let's say today that you draw the Five of Wands. It might be a very simple entry like, the date, Five of Wands, conflict, arguments, competition, something like that. Just those words may be all it is. Or it may prompt you to think about, okay, if I experience this sort of conflict today, how would I want to handle that? So maybe you'll have a note like, try not to get drawn into unnecessary arguments today, something along those lines. Or it could draw you into some thoughts and insights about the way that you approach conflict in your life and how you would like to do better with that, or how you have learned to do that better and to approach those sorts of things when they come up. So there's a whole realm of ideas that could come up, but again, it could just be very simple, Five of Wands, conflict, arguments, disruption, competition, that kind of stuff. What you'll find is, I think, at least this is what I found and what other people seem to find when they do this process, is that over time, you'll begin to really associate certain things with certain cards. And when those cards come up, it'll just pop into your head immediately, sort of what that card means. Now, the meanings may change for you over time as well. And as cards repeat, you may get deeper insights. You you may think that a card has kind of certain meanings and certain connotations, and then all of a sudden something will be happening in your life, or something will come up that will really trigger some deep insights for you. And you may never then see that card in the same way again as you did before. And that's all part of the process. But it just gets to be so much deeper than just taking out a book and looking at the meaning that is attributed to the card that's on the page there, saying, oh, that's what it means. You can really internalize these. And if you start reading for others in particular, this can be very, very helpful. The stories that we create when we do a card reading uh, are very much tied into uh, our own uh, take on the cards, our own history with the cards, the intuition that hits us when a card turns up in a particular position, and that sort of thing. And so this is just a way to get to really make the deck your own, to really learn it well. And it then becomes a very, very powerful tool in a way that just pulling a card and looking up a reading online or in a book kind of doesn't do. So that's why I would really recommend this process, and I would recommend it over some other approaches which are very systematic, where you maybe start with the major arcana and you go through the cards in sequence and that sort of thing. That can be valuable too. And at some point, if you really delve deeply into the cards or into a particular deck, like for instance, I've really devoted the last few years to working with the Thoth deck. And so I definitely have gone in very deeply into the reference materials that are out there, and, studied each card thoroughly, and studied the correspondences with that card to the Tree of Life and to uh, astrology and all of that sort of thing. And that's okay. But I think if you start with that approach and you haven't really kind of just gotten to know the deck, know the cards, and know what they mean to you and what they mean in your life, then you're you're sort of missing out. It's a very academic exercise at that point. And approaching the cards this way, where you pull a card a day and reflect really well, and take some notes, make some journal entries about it. That just really brings these cards alive in a way that other approaches don't. So this is what I would recommend. Um, I would say develop the habit is the other thing. Just a few minutes every day, but try to do it every day if you can, so that it becomes as much a part of your life as washing your face or brushing your teeth in the morning, that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be morning. Some people like to do this at the end of the day, and that's fine too. Works best for me to do it in the morning. But that is really just a matter of personal choice and what works best for you. You might try different things and see, how it goes for you, and what works best. Uh, but the point is, do it every day. Even though it's only a few minutes a day, it's a very, very powerful practice. And I think you'll be surprised at the benefits and the blessings that it will bring into your life if you do this practice. I will have a post about this as well, in addition to the Tarot 101. Uh, I'll have another post about this process and how to do it that I will put in the description box here. If you have got questions about this, I would love to hear from you. You can leave comments here with the video, or you can visit the weblog at atarotjourney.com and leave comments on the posts there. Or you can find my contact information there if you'd like to email me about this. If you've got questions, if you've got insights, if you try this process, I'd love to hear how it works for you, and what you learned along the way with it. If you have another approach to learning the cards that you would like to recommend, or you've got any thoughts about this at all, I would love to read your comments. And also share them with other people here as well. So it would be great if you'd leave comments here on the video. So good luck in your tarot journey, and let's go to the table now for our tarot reading for the week to come. Okay, the table is ready. The cards have been shuffled and cut and laid out here in the 4 dimensions of life for our reading for the week of August 17th here. So in the physical dimension, we have the Empress. In the social emotional, we have the Prince of Wands. In the mental dimension, we have the 10 of Wands. And in the spiritual dimension, we have the Death card. So 2 majors and a Court card and a pip, both from the suit of Wands this week. So that suit is the suit of the spirit, the suit of fire. So lots of powerful energy going on in these dimensions of our lives here. And of course, these major cards always denote big energy. Let's take these one at a time if we can here. So the Empress card, this is just such a lovely card, and Lady Harris rendering in this deck is just beautiful as well. So this is the 3rd of the majors, the Empress, and the number 3 card, and she is the great mother. She is Mother Nature. She is that beautiful, soft, nurturing, creative energy. So when I see this card come up, and especially here in the physical dimension as it has come up this week, I think of this as a prompt to get out into the fresh air and sunshine if we can. Here in the Northern Hemisphere where I live, we're getting towards the end of the summer now. It'll be autumn before we know it. And so we need to enjoy these lush days at the end of summer as much as we can. If it is possible to take time out, to get outside, to take a walk, to just sit outside in the soft breeze and the sunshine, in the green spaces, then that is just so nourishing. And it's nourishing in all of the dimensions of our lives, but certainly especially in this physical dimension. So it's just an essential thing to do. And I think that in our day and age, a lot of us just don't take the time to do that. We're just busy flitting from this thing to that thing, and we're, locked inside our air-conditioned boxes, and we just don't take time to really get out and connect. So let's do that this week. It'll do us some good. Okay, this Prince of Wands coming in the social, emotional dimension of our lives. And this card, this guy is, can be very noble, can be generous. He's fast, he's strong, very powerful. He's like an explosion, though. So princes are the 3rd rank of the court cards, and so they are associated with the element of air. And these wands cards, as I mentioned earlier, are associated with the element of fire. So this guy is air of fire. So think of like, if you've seen the movie Backdraft, that's the energy of this guy, just whoosh. And so there can be a tendency toward impulse, toward violence, and that sort of thing. We need this sort of power in our lives, but we need to be careful how it is governed, and particularly coming as this does in the social emotional aspect of our lives. I'm getting the sense that this is a strong impulse, and maybe even an impulse to violence. Just very, very strong emotions. I'm not saying even that, hey, nonviolence is always a virtue. I mean, I personally believe that it is. Um, but in this world, I mean, violence has its place, I guess. But we need to look within ourselves, and particularly if we're feeling just that strong impulse to strike out at somebody this week, we might want to rein that in just a little bit and take a breath and think about it. And ask ourselves if we are acting out of our best nature, or whether or not it is just our emotions getting away with us here. So that would be my advice. Just watch out for impulses towards striking out this week, and let me know how that goes. If this is resonating with you, I'd love to hear how you handle it, and if this reading was any help to you in kind of getting prepared for that burst, if it happens this week. Okay, up here in the middle dimension, we have the Ten of Wands, and this card is styled Oppression in the Thoth deck. This is coming in the mental dimension. We're carrying a lot with us here. We're just carrying an awful lot of burden of some kind, and it is preoccupying us. And we're going to drop it one way or another. We're going to have to let all this stuff go. The question is, what do we want to take with us? What do we want to leave behind us? And what do we want to make sure that we don't throw out in front of our path to confront later? And that can be a delicate thing, and especially if we've got so much on our minds. It can be difficult to navigate all of this. But I'd say the overall message here of this card coming in the mental dimension is lighten up. Try not to go from concern to worry to obsession, and especially if it is about many, many things, and especially if it is about things over which we can exert very little influence or control. So let's lighten up. Let's try and use good hygiene with our nervous systems. Let's spend some time in meditation and quiet and out in the green spaces, and see if we can't let some of this stuff go this week. So we have this death card then in the spiritual dimension, and this card is one that scares a lot of people. And you can almost see in a movie scene where someone's getting a tarot reading and someone lays down the death card and you have the music. Oh my gosh, somebody's going to die. And this card it rarely portends a physical death. It really is about the process of rebirth, the process of transformation, dying to the old things so that we can pursue the new. And what particularly with this card over here in the mental dimension and all of these burdens we're carrying, we need to let those go, and then we can get on with things. And in the spiritual dimension here, I take this card as a very auspicious sign for us this week. We will have the opportunity to really make some progress, to move forward, but we're going to have to let some things go in order to do that. Sometimes when this card comes up too, it is telling us, hey, if you don't let this go, it's going to let you go. Sometimes it is a signal that if we don't volunteer for the job of moving forward in our lives, then we're going to be volunteered for it. And it's going to happen whether we like it or not. And so, interesting card spread. I would say the major notes here for this coming week and the major advice is try as much as possible to get outside and to breathe some fresh air, get a little sunshine, spend some time with your feet on the ground and, uh, out in the green spaces if you can. Take a nice walk, uh, that sort of thing. Watch our impulses this week. Try to let some of this stuff go and be prepared to let things go in order to move forward and in order to grow and to thrive. That's the way I would look at these cards this week. I hope you got something out of our card reading for the week. If you'd like to leave comments, you can. Leave them here with the video, or as I mentioned earlier, pop out to the weblog at atarotjourney.com, and you can find my contact information there. Before we go this time, I wanted to mention a cool content creator that I've gotten to know over on Instagram and then found her Substack. And she is called the Tarot Doc, Sarah the Tarot Doc. She's actually a medical doctor who has gotten interested in tarot. And she does some really cool card spreads and other reflection and things like that on her Substack. I will link to that in the description box. And that's got a link to her Instagram and all of that as well. And she also has a really cool downloadable guide to using the tarot to deal with the stresses of life. And so you can find that as well. I think that's in a link from her Instagram. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, go to the Substack. You'll find all of that information there, including her Instagram and the other things. But anyway, Sarah the Tarot Doc, check her out. I think that will do it. We will be back again next week. I hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you soon. In the meantime, as always, I wish you peace. Take care of yourself.